Heads up, it's the Roll Jays podcast, the voice of the Creighton basketball fan. With your hosts, Jimmie Allen, Alex Drake, and Casey Matthews. Join the crew and meet CU players, coaches, and a whole lot more. Now, the Roll Jays podcast. Here's Jimmie Allen.
Good evening, Jays fans. Creighton currently leads 37-29 over Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies. It's almost already been dubbed the Jason Green game. He's had a great first half, one of his best first halves of the entire season. Stephen Ashworth currently leads the Blue Jays in scoring, but it's being done in droves. A couple minutes early for Ty Davis because of Stephen Ashworth's foul trouble. A lot of storylines this one, guys, but I think the true storyline tonight is it's dollar beverage night. The line was already filled up at 5:30. The game wouldn't even start until 8. Derek Kellogg and Connor Happer, the entire coaching staff is out there handing out pizzas to the student section. The whole student section is full. Casey, you missed a great atmosphere tonight.
Yeah, I am. I remember I was there for a few dollar beer nights, and those were always a lot of fun. And anytime you can get that combined with UConn in the building, it's destined to be a good time. So you guys enjoy it for me.
Oh, we will, Casey. I think so far tonight the big thing has really been Creighton's ability to get a couple of guys going, and they're going on their own runs. Jason Green had a little spurt. Jackson McAndrew had 5, and one of them was capped off by a great finish at the rim. He probably should have had a foul. And then Jemiah Neal had his little run there. And their ability to get guys going on these runs has really kind of set them apart from UConn, apart from Solomon going off for 15.
Yeah, and listen, that's a story in its own right? When you look at Johnson Solomon's got 2 fouls. Tari Reed's got 3 fouls of his own right, but Liam McNeely has 15. Yeah, but McNeely's been a problem too because he's really causing Creighton guards to chase him and run all over the place. It's the reason that Stephen Ashworth is in a little bit of foul trouble right now. He's already been to the free throw line 3 times tonight. Obviously, he's a guy that you had a lot of questions about. He was coming into this game after wearing a boot for a while. Really, his first serious action back is against this Jays squad, and he's already shown you there's a reason that it was a big deal for him to get back to this game, Casey.
Well, he's a great player. I mean, he could be a potential lottery pick. I think he's a surefire first-round pick.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a few things with him. One, he's more athletic than people will give him credit for. He can score it at multiple levels, and then his length is really his length is really a problem, and so. First when Steven gets switched onto him, it's really hard because you have to respect his 3-point shot, but then because of his length and his ability to be physical, he can take you in the post. Like you saw the fake handoff action there earlier in the half where instead of switching like they probably should have talked that out and switched between him and Jackson. Steven got it. Steven stayed on him. And Liam took him to the rim. It's a tough matchup for Steven. I actually would prefer, if you could have Jemiah on him, but then I think you got some other rotations that could be out of whack because you still have some other guys that can really play, on that team. So, I think where we stand right now, up 8, going, at halftime. I don't know, guys. I mean, you'd like to sit back and go, okay, yeah, it was a good first half, but with all UConn's foul trouble, I'd like to have a bigger lead right now, and you can't expect them.
And one thing that I've noticed, and I don't love it, the way UConn is guarding Steven in that pick and roll, they're pushing him so far out. The only way he can get the ball to Ryan is to throw a long lollipop, which has allowed that help. Ryan made him pay with his assist to Jackson. But you got to find a way to get some more direct passes into Kalk in the paint.
Yeah, and Steven's kind of struggled with that already too, because and you got to wonder how much that is a timing issue because of the foul trouble problem, right? I mean, you've had Ty Davis seeing major minutes tonight that he normally doesn't see because Stephen Ashworth has 2 early fouls, and right now when you talk about, I mean, as a max in most games, Ty Davis usually sees 3 minutes at the most. He's already got 4 already in this first half.
Yeah, so a couple things there. One on Steven, I totally agree. Because he is shorter, that length bothers him. And so when you push him out, it makes it even harder. What you got to do is set those ball screens lower and then slip out of some of them and allow Kalk to roll to the rim earlier. Sometimes you could even get the connector pass. What I mean by the connector pass is a quick hit to usually the 4 or the 3, and then let that 4 or the 3 throw it in the clock runner. So you've got a couple different ways to do it. Listen, I'm not an offensive genius like Mac. Mac will figure it out pretty quickly. They're in there watching the iPad right now. But I do think if you can move those ball screens lower, Steven has to do a better job, though, of taking the fight to UConn. So he's got to push his defender down a little bit so that Calk can get into that screen lower, and then they can get some of that action. I don't mind it as far as as far as with Calk with Steven having foul trouble. I don't mind that. I mean, listen, that's going to happen in some games. UConn's a physical team. So that doesn't really shock me that much. I thought Ty's played well. When Ty's in the game and the ball goes to Calk, they're doubling off of Ty Davis's man. And so what you saw there later in that second half is they doubled off of him with Mahaney. And then Ty did a great job, though. He screened in Jason's man, this little Chicago action, and got Jason a wide open 3. So I love to see that, because that tells me that the young guy is engaged. He knows the game plan. He knows what to expect. I thought that was fantastic to see at a tie. I guarantee you he gets praise from Mac for that tomorrow after Mac watches the film.
Yeah, and Casey, another thing I want to see when you talk about Steven taking the fight to UConn on that ball screen, Steven did it a couple times. I really want to see him attack that second defender, the guy guarding Calk. I want to see him attack that guy's high hit. Really go at him. He got a second foul on their big guy early in that half. He's really got to do that, because eventually he's going to be able to turn the corner, or he's just going to have to sag, because he cannot risk getting that foul.
This is absolutely, or just reject it. Just reject the screen. I don't know. There's options out there.
This is the Roll Jays podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. Jay's out on the floor now, about 4 minutes until the start of the second half. Casey, we'll go with keys to the second half. What do you want to see from the Jays to win this one?
Yeah, I think the big one for me is going to be defensive rebounding. Got to keep UConn off the offensive glass. Did a really good job in the first half, but they're going to come hard at that offensive glass. So giving them extra possessions is not a recipe for us to succeed. Outside of that, I also think just got to take care of the ball. Don't turn the ball over. If we can match them shot for shot in the second half, we'll win the game.
Alex, before you give yours, really quick note. Jemiah Neal, the last one out of the court, walked out with the training staff and a little bit of a limp. He is out there dribbling and shooting around now, but that's something to keep an eye on here in this second half. Keys to the second half for you, Alex Trick.
Well, now with that new development, key one is hope Jemiah's healthy, right?
Yeah,
that's a big one. But really, echoing Casey's point, keep him off the offensive glass. They only had 3 offensive rebounds in the first half. Jason Green had 2 huge defensive rebounds. Just from those, I imagine that he had more, but he only had 2. Keep them off the offensive glass is number 1. And 2, make everybody else beat you. McNeely's already kind of got it going. I wouldn't focus too much on shutting him out. Just make him work harder for him, and don't let anybody else get going.
Yeah, the offensive rebounds feels like a much bigger deal, because right now UConn only has 3 offensive rebounds, but they've got 4 points off those offensive rebounds. So when they do get them, they are getting points. You've got to crash the offensive glass and win there, especially when you have the advantage. There's no Donovan Clingan walking back through the door in the second half with Ryan Kalkbrenner, Jason Green, and Isaac Trout, and the size advantage that looks like Creighton has. They need to take advantage of that for me. And honestly, you've got to find a way to keep Liam McNeely in check. I know it's a lot easier said than done, Casey. You talked about his accolades and the talent level that he has, but you got to find a way to let everybody else beat you in this game, because Creighton went on a 14-2 run, and Liam McNeely sparked that 8-0 run that got UConn back into this game. So you got to find a way to shut him down. This has been the Roll Jays podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. Just a reminder, you can donate to Creighton's NIL Collective by scanning the QR code in the top right corner of your screen right now. All proceeds will go to benefit your favorite athletes at Creighton University, as well as benefit this podcast. All 3 of us back on the radio on 1620 The Zone. Immediately following John Bishop's call tonight, we're going to talk to Creighton assistant coach Trey Ziegler and get his thoughts on hopefully a 10th straight Creighton win. We'll see you on 1620 The Zone immediately following the game. Go Jays.